Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. Today is currently December 19th and I just spent my whole day making those PowerPoints reading wrap-ups, so that's what we're gonna be doing today. I'm so excited. I didn't do it really specific or long to not bore you, but I added the most interesting things, I think. So I'm gonna share my screen with y'all as if we are on class, and we're going to be quickly going through my year of reading 2024. So starting off, this is my reading wrap-up of 2024, my Goodreads challenge. So my reading goal was 70 books and I did not accomplish it. Another year. I've been aiming so highly these 2 years that I've been reading, because last year was 75 books and I read 71. This year I was like, okay, I'm gonna lower it to 70 and I read 58. If you see my goals here, like that screenshot from Goodreads, it says 60 because I accidentally marked 2 books twice. So then when I counted it, I saw that I actually read 58 books, so I'm 12 books away from my reading goal. And out of those 58 books, only 6 of them were 5-star reads. Last year, I don't remember how many 5-star reads I had, but they were more. So this year, one or two things. Or I'm being very picky in my 5-star ratings, or it wasn't that good of a year compared to last year. I don't know. I feel like last year I had more favorites. So now this is my reading formats. So I read 32 books in physical form, 12 digital, and 14 audiobooks, and some of these were immerse readings, or some of these were like switching between the physical and the Kindle if they were Kindle Unlimited. Genres, I read 26 romances, so obviously that's my favorite genre, so I read 26 romances, and I also read 8 thrillers and 8 fantasies and 8 YA, but in those YAs there are romance YAs and also fantasy YAs. I had 1 historical fiction, 5 graphic novels, which was the Heartstopper books, so I didn't count them as romance or YA, I just added them as graphic novels, and 1 memoir. Monthly tracker, I divided here how many books I read per month. So in January, I read 9 books, February 8 books, March 4 books, April 6 books, May 5 books, June 4 books, July 3, August 1, September 5, October 4, November 1, and December 8. So my best month was January because I read 9 books, but it was just like really motivated. And you can see that after August, it's when I started working full-time, so I had less time to read or wasn't managing my time well. Here are my top 3 books. This was kind of hard, but not really, because I only had 6-star reads, and 5-star reads, and these were the ones that stood out to me more. So my top 3 books are Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. So the 3rd book, you know, I love that book. I think that's my favorite book of the whole year. And then The Ex Vows by Jessica Joyce. That book is a second chance romance and I adored it. I really want to read it next year because I read it as an ARC, and therefore I didn't have the physical copy. So then I bought the physical copy, I want to annotate it, so that's why I really want to reread it. And it was an amazing romance. And God of Malice, that was the only dark romance book I read this year, and I read it in December. I was not planning to read that book anytime soon, and randomly I decided to start it, and I was obsessed literally since the beginning. So good. Then we have my DNFs, and I have really popular books in this one. I think I had more DNFs, but they were like soft DNFs that I didn't even remember to continue the book. So first off is Kiss the Sky. I left that book at 35%, I think, because I think I was trying, like forcing myself to like the Addicted series. I started off liking it, but then I was not that interesting. I think that because I took so long to read them, like in between the books, so I just started losing interest and decided to DNF Kiss the Sky. Then Butcher and Blackbird, that book, I don't remember the percentage, but it was at like page 200 and something. Again, I was trying to read it, but every time I was reading it, I was falling asleep. Every time I picked up the book, I was so lost. I had no connection with the characters, no connection with the story. I had no idea what was going on because I was falling asleep. So this is not technically the book's fault, more like a me thing. I was really tired when I read those books, but it's in the DNF. And Ready or Not, that book, I also left it at 200 something pages because I was, again, not connecting with the characters and didn't care for the story that much. That's an accidental pregnancy book, and I thought, like, I was going into it knowing it, but I was seeing so many 5-star reviews. I was like, maybe I can deal with that trope, but I can't. I really, like, the only book I haven't cared about that trope is an Elsie Silver book. I can't. And then Daydream by Hannah Grace. This was an anticipated read for me because I really enjoyed Icebreaker. Then Wildfire, I liked but didn't love. And this one, at 200 pages something, I had to DNF because I felt like nothing was happening. I had no idea what the plot was, or even if they had a plot. The characters I found, I don't want to say boring, but didn't stand out to me. So I really tried with Daydream, but I was not wanting to read. This book was giving me a slump. I was bored. I hate to say it, but I was bored. Then we have my top 3 book boyfriends of the year. Not my top 3 book boyfriends ever, but of the year. So first we have Killian Carson, the male main character from God of Malice. That's one of those characters where you're like, I like him, but like, I liked him. I can't believe I liked him. Like, he's so different from every other book boyfriend that I am obsessed with, but yep. Then Ellie Mora from The X-Files. That book boyfriend is literally top tier. Like, he's perfect. He's perfect. He is everything you should aim for in a man, like everything you should look for in a man. So then I finally read Beach Read, and that was another 5-star read of mine, close to being in my top 3 books of the year. But yeah, Gus, that book had me on a chokehold since page 1. I was obsessed since page 1. So that book could be my top 3, like, depending on the day. Today it wasn't, but I loved it. 5 stars. The banter was everything. He was perfection. Then my top 3 book couples, Eli, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Eli and Georgia, loved their chemistry, loved their love story, loved everything about them. Gus and January, love them. And Rowan and Aris from Divine Rivals. Divine Rivals was another 5-star read of mine this year. That's what I look for in a fantasy. That book is my perfect fantasy. I loved it. I loved every single second of it, and I also like binged it. That's the only book I read in August was that one, and I loved it. 5 stars. Now this year I only had one reread, and it was The Right Move. I read it in January. That book will always be one of my top 3 favorite books. I adore that book, those characters, the tropes, it's perfection. And a new favorite author I discovered this year was Jessica Joyce. Books I've read by her were You with a View, and then The X-Files. You with a View, I think I gave it 4 stars, and then The X-Files is one of my favorite reads of the year. So I really liked her writing style and how she writes her characters. I love her. Can't wait to read more by her. And then these are 5 books I wish I got to this year. So Air of Fire by Sarah J Maas. That book has been on every single TBR since I read Assassin's Blade, but I never got to it because pushing it off for the holidays, and then I decided to read other books, so I didn't got to that one. Then Phantasma, I think it released this year, and I've been seeing amazing reviews. People say that it's like an adult's Caraval, like Caraval with spice. Sold. Literally sold. 6 of Crows. I've had that book my TBR for over a year, and I keep saying that I want to read it, and I never get to it. I'm never in the mood for it, really. And then I have Firefly Lane, which I've been really wanting to read. I've been seeing nothing but great reviews, and again, it's a thick one that I really want to focus on and never got to it. And Bear Town, I really wanted to read it during, I started it before my New York trip, and beginning of December, and I always do this. I start a book when I'm on the plane, read a couple chapters, fall asleep in the plane, and never pick that book up until God knows when. Books I want to reread in 2025 are The X-Files. I want to annotate the physical copy. Yours truly, I read it last year, but I didn't annotate it because I was so into the story that I couldn't stop reading, so I never got the chance to annotate it. Then just for the summer, this was another book I read, The Ark, and I feel like I was focusing on finishing fast so I can write the review, that I didn't like savor it enough for it to be a 5-star. I think that if I would have savored it better, like, that's not the word, but read it slowly and pay more attention, or like take me time, I think that I would have given that book 5 stars because I love Abby Jimenez's writing and characters, and that one I gave a 4.5 stars, and I feel like if I reread it, it could be a 5 stars. So I want to reread that one. The same with View with a View. I feel like when I read it, I wasn't in the right headspace because I gave it 4 stars, and I think that book could be a potential 5-star. I feel also like I don't remember that book. Then obviously I need to do the right move reread because that book means the world to me. I also got the physical copy of that one this year because the 2 times I read it were through my Kindle, and I got that one for my birthday, and I want to annotate the heck out of that book. So that book is gonna be reread in 2025 100%. And then I would love to get to The Boys of Tommen again. That is my favorite series ever, so I really want to read it again. And here are some bookish goals I have for 2025. I am lowering again my Goodreads reading challenge. I want to read 50 books, and I want to focus on rereading favorites, not just like reading new books, which I want to, but I also like want to experience reading the same books I've already read that I've loved. So I want to reread more. I want to get this one is, fingers crossed, get through 50% of my physical TBR. Right in front of me is my TBR cart. It's so full. I need to count them, but I know I have over 50 books on my physical TBR. That's crazy. So I really want to focus on reading the books I have on my cart instead of buying books or reading books on Kindle Unlimited. So I want to focus on that. I want to at least finish 8 series I'm in the middle of. I'm in so many series. I need to stop starting series and continue series, or at least decide which series I'm going to finish and which I won't. So that's a goal of mine. This year I read my first language, if you haven't noticed or I haven't told you, is Spanish. I'm from Puerto Rico, so I speak Spanish, but I read Spanish books obviously, but for classes, not for fun. So this year I'm making book content on TikTok in Spanish, but obviously using my English books. And I started like consuming more Spanish book content. I got motivated to start reading Spanish, and I bought one and I liked it a lot. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's called Cuando no queden más estrellas que contar de Maria Martinez. And I decided to make a TikTok and ask the book girlies that are reading Spanish to give me recommendations from Spanish books. One of my requirements is that I don't want a originally English published book. I want books that are originally Spanish, and they gave me a lot of recommendations. I have the list on my phone, so I want to read more Spanish books this year, and yeah, that's one of my goals. I already bought 2 and I downloaded some on my Kindle, so I'm really excited for that. And yeah, those are my goals. I also got a reading journal for next year that I also that's one of my goals, to track my reads in this journal. So that's another goal I forgot to add to the PowerPoint. I'm really excited to do this, and of course keep posting book content, especially on YouTube, because I've been so inconsistent on YouTube. I post one day and then disappear for a month, and I don't want to do that. I really want to post at least once a week. So that's one of my goals. Keep posting on my Instagram. Hopefully we don't lose TikTok, and I can keep posting Spanish book content on my TikTok, because TikTok is an app that I feel like for me, it's hard to show my personality in English because I have to think before I speak. And when I'm talking Spanish, I can just be more myself without even thinking. And I like to show my personality, at least in TikTok. Here I try, but sometimes it's not that, you see? It's not that easy for me. But yeah, let me know in the comments which was your favorite read of the year, or at least your top 3 if you can't choose. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you the next year.